So I'm starting live stream. Let me record it as a backup. Okay.
Okay, it is 7:09 p.m. This begins the meeting of Bronx Community Board 11 Education, Culture and Youth Services Committee. I am the chairman, Alex Ellison.
I'm Dear Taylor, the secretary.
The first item on the agenda, I would just refer everyone to the conduct statement at the bottom of the agenda, which is posted online. Please be respectful in the meeting. The second item on the agenda is the review of the minute meetings from the last meeting. We didn't meet in December. For November meeting minutes. I just see the attendance. I don't see the written minutes posted. Jeremy, is that something we're working on?
Yeah, I mean, if we have them, yep. And for the record, though, I know Herbert called out. Did anybody else call out?
I have not heard from Stephanie.
I thought Lisa was, I thought we removed her.
Yeah, Lisa's no longer on the committee.
She's just on transportation or parks, I think.
On the phone. All right, so I will mark Herbert excused, and then Stephanie, I'll mark absent until further notice.
Okay, and I just want to note the attendance record from last time from November says that Stephanie was remote. She did not attend that meeting.
Oh, she did not attend at all?
No.
Okay, so I will hold on.
Yep, she definitely
Try to
did.
do that. Okay, all right.
Okay. So Jeremy, maybe we'll wait till the next meeting for the record to be corrected, and then we could vote on the attendance.
Actually, Stephanie was online and Herbert was online.
Was online in November?
Yeah,
Yeah, I recall something to that effect. Like maybe Cynthia told me she was online, or I can check
she
too.
wasn't in video though. I think she.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll double check. But Herbert, I remember definitely being online.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, maybe she was just online but didn't say anything. Yeah, I wasn't aware she was there.
Yeah, I think I remember being there.
So she's on here. She's on now.
Oh,
Is she?
Yeah, but you gotta have your video on, Stephanie, to count for attendance.
No problem. I was just setting up. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello, everyone.
I'm spelling your name wrong. Whoops.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you all? Happy
Hello,
New Year.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I'm just gonna put my email in the chat. Would you be able to just email me your contact info so I can include you in all the group emails for the committee?
Yes.
Okay.
And can you let me know, do you need me to come in person?
I think the rules require you to be here in person for us to have quorum. And
Okay.
also, you're required to be in person unless there's some, circumstance that would prevent you from being here.
No problem.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, sorry, did I have my hand up still? No, it was just that attendance issue.
Oh,
As far as I remember.
Stephanie, were you at the November committee meeting?
No,
you weren't online either?
I was not.
Oh, all right.
I messed up the days because of the holidays. Everything was moved around. So I didn't. So I was trying to join for December, but then Cynthia told me that it was canceled.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. So I've just put my email in the chat. So just if you could send me an email so I have your contact info, and that way I can include you, you know, in all the committee emails about, you know, meetings and what we're working on and stuff like that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, but welcome to the committee. Good to have you here.
Yeah, good to have you
Thank
here.
you. Hi.
Thanks.
Great. Okay, well, moving on to the next item in the agenda. We have a discussion with Ms. Morris from the Collegiate Institute for Math and Science. Me and her had a very nice discussion last week about you know, her school and you know, things that she thinks, you know, we might be able to help with at her school. So I invited her here to talk with the committee. And hopefully, you know, a lot of people here have experience with education. I know Dear sent a really helpful email out with resources and ideas. So I'm hoping we can kind of have a little discussion and ideas of, you know, ways that we can be more involved in Miss Morris's school. But I'd like, Miss Morris, if you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the school, it'd be great. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, Mr. Appleton. And hello, Stephanie. Thank you for joining as well. Thank you for having me. So I am the Community Associate for Collegiate Institute for Math and Science, and it's a high school located in the Bronx. We service about 580 students. And I completed the Community Board 11 School Needs Survey. One of the highlights of my role at the school is that I'm able to be at the epicenter of my school when it comes to needs and also just finding out what my school community could benefit from. So I was delighted to complete the school needs survey. And as Mr. Epperson alluded to earlier, we had a great conversation last week about various ways that my school could use support. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to complete the survey because I know that there are many schools in the Bronx, and I know that you guys work with a lot of schools, but it would be great if we could receive your support in any way.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate you completing the survey. You know, the committee last year spent a lot of time crafting that survey, and what we hoped was that it
Yeah.
would really serve as a sort of starting point for working with the schools
Yes.
and collaborating. So thank you very much for participating in that. And
You're welcome.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping that, you know, the relationship between us and your school can be ongoing. So if, you know, if we're able to help you today or sometime in the future, that's not the end of it. You know, anything that you need, you know, we're here and happy to help out. That's what we're here for.
Yes, that would be a great opportunity.
So I'm trying to think where would be a good place to start. You know, we covered a lot of things
Yes.
last week, and I did send you some feedback from Dia.
Yeah, I was very grateful for that feedback because it picked up from where we left off, and your committee members gave great suggestions. And I understand that our survey was broad. However, I do believe that our primary focus at the moment, like when we were discussing it last week, would be that attendance initiative. I'm not sure if the community board was able to see our recent proposal regarding our attendance initiative, but I would say of everything that was on the survey, from the time that I completed it until now, I really do feel like that program, if you guys could suggest ways on how you could support potentially with that program for our school, it would be great because, as you know, many of the schools have attendance issues. However, the program that has been proposed has a great track record. We've currently worked with them, but it has been just preliminary with a smaller part of the program, and they would like to work with us further, specifically with the attendance initiative. So when we meet with our equity team on a weekly basis and we look over the attendance of our entire school, cohort by cohort, we feel that this program could really help us to reach our attendance goal and also get a handle on our attendance as a school, but also the chronically absent as well. So that I think is the highlight that I think you guys would be able to support us with if possible, followed by a lot of the suggestions that you gave us.
Well, I think as like we discussed last week, helping you with that attendance program is actually one of the things that would be easier for us to do, because
Yeah.
I think what we would do is provide you with a letter of support from the community board, which is essentially, the DOE, I imagine, would sort of look at that as the community vouching for this program, saying we want this and we think it'll help
Yeah.
our students. And that's pretty simple for us to do. Normally, the way that process works is we vote for it in committee and then it goes to the full board.
Okay.
However, it's not on the agenda today, and we also don't have quorum, so we can't vote for it in the committee.
Yeah.
But there is a way where we could still bring it up in the full board, which is going to take place at the end of the month.
Okay.
So I think we should still, what would happen is I would probably be able to get you that letter at the end of this month. And
Okay.
then I guess if I give you that, would you then be able to forward that to whoever's reviewing the grant from DOE? Would that be helpful?
Yes, I definitely would be able to forward that. And I do appreciate the feedback that you guys provided in terms of our school store and equipment. You guys really helped us to see where we could start. And I understand that the tutoring support, as you know, is a universal issue, especially with literacy. And I love the fact that you guys highlighted the fact that it's a citywide problem and you provided resource links. So what I have done is shared these resource links with my school's administration as well as our special education department so that we can utilize these suggestions.
Great.
But I do understand that that would be easier. I know that it's a tall ask. So any suggestions that you guys can provide or resources or point us in the correct direction would be appreciated. So we're starting here with the feedback that you guys gave us.
Can I ask a few follow-up questions? What is,
Yes.
how much is, it's the name of the nonprofit is I Will Graduate, just so I'm clear? And how much is the program for, does it run for, is it like how much is the program and how much are they willing to prorate you for starting to work if, like, say you were to start in February?
Yes. So if we were to start in February, the program would potentially be February through June, and it would be 2 days a week with additional staff provided as well. The program would work with 30 students, and also it would be a rotation, so they would be able to see where their attendance is, obviously after it's improved, and then put students in, so it's a revolving attendance. And it would be their total $29,937.50. So roughly $30,000, but that's with incentives as well. So not only do they do they would do our home visits, they would do outreach for us, they would provide the students with accountability partners. So it would be them being a part of our school and helping us with our equity team across the cohort. And then the good, yeah.
Are they contracted vendors with the DOE? And
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they've been in contract with the DOE for 20 years. So they're actually celebrating their 20th year this coming June. And they Yes, yes,
Do you have, it sounds like, do you have support from your superintendent? And then what does your attendance teacher, how are they supporting this work currently? Like, what does it look like for them to
yeah.
work with students who have the most absenteeism?
So we have an attendance teacher that works with us. The only thing is that our attendance teacher not only works with us, but works with 4 other schools in our building. So unfortunately, our attendance teacher is not able to dedicate as much time as we would like to have dedicated to our students because that attendance teacher is only for the schools in the building. So she is a lady. She's only able to dedicate 1 day per week to us, and that is across the cohort. So she unfortunately is not able to dedicate as much time, whereas this program would be able to work one-on-one with the students in connection with our guidance team and also provide accountability and help us with the outreach and the home visit. So our attendance teacher does home visits as well. However, the home visits are spread out across the 5 schools.
Right.
So that doesn't allow for enough time. And if we have students on our list, that has to be crucial. And if we can get outside support, and the good thing about I Will Graduate is that they have a proven track record of success, not only with this program, but also their other programs as well. And it started 20 years ago with a school in Brooklyn that had 30% attendance. And with this same program, that this is their pilot program, they were able to bring them into the 90%.
You
So
said
the
30%?
yes,
Yeah.
it was back in 20 years ago. They did one school, and it was horrible attendance in the 30s. And they came in with incentives, with initiatives, and accountability for the students. And with that pilot school, they brought them up to 90% attendance. And that was the beginning of I Graduate. So I'm not sure if you know about the program, but each year they work with various schools in the city, and each year they celebrate students at I Will Graduate Day. So it's a way for the students to pledge that they will commit themselves to going to school every day, doing their work, accountability. They take a pledge. It's every September that they take this pledge, the schools that are partnered with them. And then in October, they have I Will Graduate Day, which is where all the schools come together, via virtual or in person, and pledge together as a school to make it to the year and commit themselves to doing their best. And then in October, they have their big celebration of I Will Graduate Day. But it's a very successful program, and I really wanted to highlight it with you guys because not only is it a proven program, but we have our superintendent goals, as you know, and we can't have our attendance rate in jeopardy come May and June if we can get a handle on it now. And I know with flu season and everything else, it's typical for students to be absent somewhat, but we have a cohort of students that we can highlight or I Will Graduate, that they can work with them. And I love the fact that they give them accountability and also they incentivize the students as well, whereas we are not able to. And this program is going to be February through June. And they would work with us, connection with us, on site 2 days a week, additional staff from I Will Graduate in-house. And they literally do the home visits, make sure that they're coming to school, take them to school from home if they're not there, and just have extra support for our guidance team and equity team.
What's your current, over the last like 3 months, what is your average daily attendance or monthly attendance?
So over the course of November, we saw a dip, and it dipped into the low 80s, which we've noticed that across the entire building, because we compare the attendance depending on what's happening, there was a dip. And for us, it dipped into the 70s. Usually our attendance rate is 92% or higher. But not only are we seeing the dip with weather, of course, with flu season, but we see it with our seniors. And we definitely need our seniors to not only attend, but also not get the senioritis and make sure that they make the grade by June, because we need our cohort of students to walk in June. So we're focusing. We can focus on a cohort of 30, but we see our seniors that need the support, and the attendance out of all of the cohorts, Mr. Effelson, the seniors are the ones that we're seeing the most attendance dipping with. So they are the kids that are going to be graduating in June. So we need to get a handle on their attendance, but we can get the support from our graduate across the board. So what we do is we have the overall attendance, which dipped into the 70s this past month, and we even met last week as a team, and we said we need to have a strong January, because for us we have Martin Luther King Day coming up, and then we also have Regents Week, which is the 20th of January to the 23rd of January. And for students that are not taking Regents exams in January, the rest of those kids don't have to come to school, but we only have about 3 or 4 days after that we can have our attendance be strong. So we are still knee deep in trying to figure out how to make the attendance stay up, because we already saw the dip.
Okay, just so it sounds like you said it'll be iterations of like 30 students at a time over the
Yes.
couple of months.
So what they would do, they would come in and we would give them a list of the students based on the data that we have. So the good thing about us is that we use programming that shows us their attendance across the board from September to now, but also what their attendance was last year. So we can compare and say, okay, in November of last year, their attendance was at this percent. This year it dipped, so we need to see what happened there. Also, with the attendance being what it is, we can have them work with 30 students, and then when they do reach that 90% that we need them to be, Iowa Graduate is willing to roll in additional students. So if there are students that are already where they should be and they see a dip any point from February to June, they're willing to roll them into the program. So they're not just willing to work with 30 students, and then once they reach the level that they're supposed to be, add them out of the program. They're willing to fill that seat with a
Take it to
student who
support.
might need help. Yeah.
So just as a caveat, I think that in talking to the full board, I think it's likely that we'll be able to provide a letter of support for any grants that you want to apply for. I think that
Okay.
being realistic, the way that, so I work for the DOE, so I'm really familiar with, the things that you're talking about, but I'm also really
Yeah.
familiar with how slow money is moved. And so, I don't think in the best of times, I mean, I could be wrong, maybe a generous benefactor will come in and say, I'm gonna smack down $30,000 and you'll be able to start that program. I guess
Yes.
two quick questions. Is your superintendent, are there any funds within the superintendent's office to be able to currently support this initiative in any way, in any capacity, even for, I don't know, if he had like a couple thousand to support a smaller group of students, would that work? And then the other question I was gonna ask was, we're here now, like, is there a way, I don't know, if we can't get the money by February, maybe working and thinking about what this could look like to get greater public attention to support something like this so that they could fully start in the fall. And then with that, is the full cost of this program $60,000 then?
So potentially it's possible. However, this is negotiable. This is negotiable based on how many weeks we would be in the program. The only thing is that Iowa Graduate, like you said, Mr. Appleton, is willing to work with us as a long-term partnership. So if it's a case where it would be feasible to ask them, hey, if we were to do this program, and let's say we cannot start it in February, if we were to start it in the fall, they would be willing to package a program for us and then have it be, okay, this would be for over 2 years or over 3 years at a lower rate than, let's say, the standard, because it would be a partnership we'd be looking at. So they're open to that, and that's what their aim is actually to work with us long term because they want to build a relationship with the school
Right.
and also build a relationship with those students and follow them through so that they have that accountability and support throughout. So we are open to starting in the fall with them. We've already discussed that too, because they know that it is short notice. We might not be able to start now, but they're willing to work with us. So if it's a case where the community board would need a proposal for, let's say, a 2-year partnership, a 3-year partnership, I would definitely go back to them and ask them for that as well.
I think it would be good to have a quote with different scenarios depending on
Yes.
who you're asking for that money from.
Yeah.
Again, I know that like we can offer a letter of support if you want to ask different organizations to provide some funds.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to speak honestly. I don't think the community board can offer anywhere. I don't know if at all, Jeremy, if you're on, if we can offer money, if we like how much money we could offer if we did have it, because
Yes.
the board is fairly cash strapped, but definitely working with and being able to advocate on your behalf to other organizations that might be able to support that. I will say, as a starting point, if you haven't set up that connection with your superintendent to have, because like your superintendents, our community, our councilmen, your state senators, all of them have certain funds to be able to give to certain schools. And so like your superintendent, I would guess, has relationships with certain elected officials where they'd be able to tap them and ask for some of that money, and just the ways in which that money would flow might be a little bit faster. And so if you haven't had a conversation with them, maybe asking your principal to like sit down with your principal and ask your principal to sit down with the superintendent, or you can sit with them, just to give them the full proposal. So to see if there's anything that they could do. Sorry, Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie, your hand raised. Did you want to add something?
Yes. I
Hi,
have a
Stephanie. How are
question.
you?
Hello, hi, Miss Morris.
Yes.
I would like to know which is the school?
Oh, the name of my school?
Yes.
Yes, it is Collegiate Institute for Math and Science, District 7.
You said District 7?
11.
Oh, District 11. Okay.
Yes.
And
And anything is possible, yes.
What grades?
So we service high school, so we are grades 9 through 12.
You said what
And
grade?
we have
Sorry.
about 9 through 12.
Okay.
Yes, about 580 students roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. So then you're with the okay. So back to the same question then, like Mr. Deere has said about we need the connection with the high school superintendent in
Yeah.
order to see how they could be able to support with this.
Okay.
That way about the funding. I know that
Okay.
there's certain things that sometimes the district is able to get done.
Yeah.
And you to go back and also ask, since you're going to ask about the package, make one of the proposals to be, what about if more than one school enrolls?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Like if all 5 buildings did it, or all 5 schools.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe they could give a
I'm
better
definitely
price.
open to that, Stephanie.
Yeah, because then maybe they could give a better price that the superintendent's office could maybe work with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a good
The
suggestion.
only thing I'm definitely open to that. The only thing is that what I have seen is that even though we are 5 different schools in one building, I do know that every school's budget is different, and also every school might not have the same immediate initiative. So I do understand that it can be a little tricky, getting everyone to agree to something, regardless of if it's a partnership or not, because that
Well,
might not
right
be their
now,
goal. Yeah,
right now, right now they're having Bronx High Schools Federation meeting as we speak. So
yes,
that will be a platform where you could go find some friends
yes,
that may be having your same initiative.
yes,
And like
yes,
you said, like not everybody may agree, but you're gonna have some people that will be finding this program helpful. And
yes,
I also agree with you on the because the attendance personnel is only one person and it gets
yes,
shared out with different sites. It's
yes,
harder to track down attendance.
correct,
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
definitely. And
that's how I could be able to advocate with that. Like
yes,
I seen
yes,
the hardship of having just one attendance for
yes.
different sites.
Yes, and we're all about collaboration. And the reason why I am open to that is because this attendance teacher, as phenomenal as she spreads herself thin across the board with all of our schools. So this program would help everyone. I do see where collaboration would be helpful. And one of the things that my principal really highlighted is partnering with an organization similar to I Will Graduate for this specific reason. And I have been looking at different programs and organizations for a while. And one of the programs that we looked into that was proposed to me by my principal is Good Shepherd. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Good Shepherd.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I met with them, and we met with them as the school administration as well. And they proposed a partnership similar to this. However, although they were giving us a quote on a 3 to 5 year partnership, some of the highlights that I would graduate highlight was not in that. So although they would provide more personnel to be on site, there were certain things that they weren't able to verify if they could do, like home visits, which was crucial to my principal because the thing is, if we don't know where the kids are, then we can't get them to and from. And also, there's a lot that happens throughout the school year, so we need to make sure that addresses are correct. And if we do need to do a home visit, it's accurate. They unfortunately weren't able to confirm if that could be done consistently, whereas home visits are a number one thing in I Will Graduate's proposal. The other thing is, unfortunately, Good Shepherd was not able to confirm. They're open to it, but they weren't able to confirm the incentives for the students. Whereas I Will Graduate confirmed that they would have monthly incentives for the students. So
Miss
that's the
Morris,
other thing.
have you ever applied for participatory budget?
Yes, yes.
Uh,
Unfortunately,
that-
we were not selected last year, but that's something that I'm looking forward to doing this year again.
Okay, yes, please. Because
Yes.
that's something else. You could also go to the CEC, the
Okay.
Community Education Council,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
they could help advocate for your
Okay.
discretionary budget.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
you're able to request
I'm writing
this
this down,
program.
Stephanie. One second. I'm writing this down.
No
Okay.
problem.
Okay. Continue.
That you're able to request this program for your school
Okay.
to be part of that allocation to be
Okay.
considered. Some of
Okay.
the schools last year they
Yes.
applied for American Debate. The
Okay.
American Debate League organization is an after school
Yes.
program and they didn't have
Okay.
the funding for it. And the
Okay.
council, city council was able to help fund them.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm gonna
Yeah, the
take that
CEC.
to the school administration.
I just said
I'm
this is
sorry.
a great
You
idea,
a-
Stephanie.
you asked a question. I'm sorry.
No, I said saying going to the CEC is a great idea. They really do a lot of advocacy on behalf of the schools, and
Yes.
because they're primarily parents, they have
Yes.
parents have all the say and sway in the city. Yeah, so I think that's a great avenue to ask for some support. How many
Yes.
people would this organization provide to the school?
So with the proposal that we have in hand, they would provide 2 additional staff instructors,
Okay.
and it would be 3 hours per day, 2 days per week, specifically with that cohort. So their idea is that we would then offset those students to be on their caseload, and they would work primarily with those students in connection with us, but that would be their cohort of 30. And they would meet with us, obviously, during our equity team meetings. They would provide us with weekly, bi-weekly updates. And also the good thing is they would be in-house. So the kids would be able to put a face to the name, as well as seeing them consistently. Whereas Good Shepherd, they were not able to confirm if they would be able to be in-house. And that was another thing as well, because we wanted to make sure that they became a part of our school, a part of our school community. And we would want to have them on our base so that the kids can know that they're there, and as well as the parents.
One
And
thing
I
I'm-
do love the idea about partnering and seeing if this could potentially benefit the entire building. Because being a community person and primarily working with my school, like you said, one attending teacher for 5 schools is a stretch. So something like this could benefit everyone. And I think that's where the convincing comes from across the board. And I'm willing to talk to the principal across the board in my building and seeing if they would be willing to partner if this could potentially happen, if they'd be open to doing this program as a group, if it couldn't be by ourselves.
One thing I'm also interested in too is, it sounds to me like, Dear and Stephanie may be a little skeptical that the amount of the grant is a little high.
Just a little.
And so I'm just curious I wonder if anyone here thinks it may be helpful to reach out to electeds, if we can get a few electeds to pledge 5,000 each to kind of
Okay.
bring the amount down,
Yeah.
if that may help this DOE ultimately cover the rest of the expenses.
Mhm.
Is that
Okay.
something that,
It's
and,
helpful. Any amount of money is helpful.
and maybe even
Yes.
if
Okay.
the superintendent might be able to give even something, if we can just get a few other
They
people
have discretionary funds.
to commit.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I think superintendent will probably be more likely because I'm guessing attendance is probably an issue with the other 5 or 4 schools at the
Yes.
campus. That if
Yeah.
they can-
So they've seen the dip as well.
Yeah.
They've seen that dip as well. But the thing is, the thing about being in a building with 5 schools is that even if we're all experiencing the same thing, even given the one attendance teacher, it'll be interesting to see where we all are come June, because again, they might, even without support, get to the 92% that we need to get to, whereas we would love to all be on that same playing field come June.
I had one other budget question. So
Yep.
you said it's 2 hours, sorry, 2 days a week, 3 hours. Is the in-house visits are included in those hours, right?
So
Right.
the home visits are outside of those 2
Okay.
days.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
So the
And the
2
maintenance
days
side
per
should
week
be
are
to-
in-house with us. But they're
Right.
outside of those other days, they're doing the home visits and they're bringing the kids in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that also outlined in the proposal?
Yeah.
Because my mind always goes to, what am I paying for? And I want to know, for $30,000 for 4 months, how is that money really be? And obviously we're paying for personnel, but like I'm like
Yes.
doing the like per hour, how much is this sort of like breaking down to
Yes.
think about the justification? And obviously you said
Yes.
that you're able to turn around the school from 30 to 90%. And so was
Yes.
that over 1 year? Or was that over several years?
So that was over 1 year.
Yeah. So
That was their first school. And then from there, obviously 20 years later, they've had different scenarios with other schools. But when I reviewed the proposal with them, it was specified that the 2 days per week are just those 2 days that they'll be with us. So that is meeting with the kids in school, meeting with us in school, doing outreach in school. But then those other days, that's primarily home visit days. So as they do the home visits for the other 3 days per week, then when they're in-house, they have feedback for us and they have reports to give us. And I know the incentives are outlined in the proposal as well. But if
Okay.
you would like for me to get a more detailed proposal so that you can see maybe a week by week breakdown of how the program would work
I
in
think
the life of an
this-
instructor, I can get them to do that too.
I think that would be beneficial for any elected official, because then
Yes,
it's very clear where the money is going. There is no,
yeah,
you don't want to you don't want people's mind to wonder about how is this going to be
yeah,
misappropriated. And so if you give with a
completely,
I think it's just better for you all. Yeah.
completely understood. Yes.
Go ahead,
And that's
Stephanie.
the thing. The reason, not only do I like this program just based on the fact that of what they've done previously, but when I compared and contrast the program, there were certain things that unfortunately Good Shepherd was not able to confirm, but their price was a lot higher. And it was more so a 2 to 3 year ask that they were asking, whereas Good Shepherd, I mean, I Will Graduate is willing to do it on a year by year basis, a half semester basis. They're not necessarily locking the school in to a partnership without specification. So that's the other part. Like Good Shepherd had let us know that they would need for us to commit to 2 to 3 years. But if, let's say, with that program, we weren't able to get the result that we wanted, we didn't want to have to know that we would be partnered for that length of time without results.
Right.
Whereas this allows for accountability. So this would be, let's say, a pilot, February through June,
Yeah.
especially considering where we are now. And
That's
then
why.
we can look ahead to say, okay, we
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
year or two.
Yep. I think with Good Shepherd, you're paying for the name. I feel like a lot of like it's a nationwide organization, so you hear
Yeah,
Good Shepherd, you probably have a good connotation with it. Where I've never
yeah,
really heard of I Will Graduate, and so they have a lot. I feel like they don't really have nothing to lose. They're trying to they want to build up their clientele list. And I do really like the idea of a pilot program, which
yes,
I never want to like try and stiff a nonprofit, but even if we aren't able to get money until a later date, I think
yes.
that it sounds like they've already been working with you to some degree, in good faith that once
Just
like,
in conversation wise, because they know that we might not potentially be able to do the program this year, but
right,
we will be able to tell them this is where we ended the year. So that would allow us to negotiate even more.
right.
Stephanie, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you know if they're a DOE vendor?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do they offer college advisors as well
Yes, they
with
do.
the package? Okay.
Yes. So they offer it's called the College and Career Readiness Package. So when I spoke with them, and I've spoken to them over the course of about 9 to 12 months as a program that we were looking into, researching them, seeing their results, attending some of their pilots. So they have their presentations. They also have the schools that they've worked with their results, representatives from the schools to let them know, like, hey, we've worked with them for this a lot amount of time. This is where we started. This is where we are now. So to kind of see it face to face. And then they have their college and career readiness program that we've even discussed that too, helping our college advisory class and revamping it. And they take the students to colleges and they pay for the transportation for that as well. So part of the reason why I will graduate and I have been talking in the school in general is because their program would allow us to have a full partnership. So outside of this portion of their programming, the college and career readiness program is great too, because they allow the kids to get a comprehensive college map plan. So they take the students from the beginning of the school year straight to the end, getting them to the college advisory. Where do you want to go? Bringing in the representatives into the school, helping to plan the college fairs, taking the kids to various organizations of schools based on where they want to go, helping them with the college process. So working with our guidance counselors, which again, we have one counselor per grade. So we have college advisory at our school for 11th graders and 12th graders. So they would be essentially servicing about 250 of our students, potentially 300 because we gave the 10th graders a preview, but our college advisory is primarily for the 11th to 12th. And they pay for the transportation for that as well. So that's a big, big thing for us because when we do take our students to different schools, if they're in state, it's a cost because as you know, the transportation that is free, you have to be back at your home school by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So anything that you do at the school has to be within that time frame. And then if you do take a coach bus or another bus outside of the state, that's a cost. So for them to cover that and then also bring in those colleges, it's a great program as well. So they're looking at it as this is our immediate need. The pilot would be awesome to help us, but then looking towards partnering with the college and career readiness in the future.
So, so the grant application for this proposal, has that already been submitted to the DE? And if so, if it has, when are you expecting a determination to be made on whether it's approved?
So there are two, you mean personally, like grants that I've applied for or in general?
One for this proposal to bring in this program to the school, so there's a budget for it. Has that request officially been made yet, or is it something that's in the process of?
No, so right now it's just in the proposal phase, based on the fact that we as a school do not have the additional funding, and that is a district situation. So even though we're willing to, talk to the superintendent and see if there's additional funding, when we started the school year, we already knew that things would be cut just based on across the board, but there's literally no additional funding for things like this.
So does this applicate like an official, I'm just talking about like, submitting this to DOE to be approved for the funds. Does
Yes.
Does the application still need to be made? And if so, when is the deadline to submit it?
Yeah, so it would still need to be made, but anything that would be submitted now, it would probably be approved for fall, not for now, just based on timing in the school year. So it's still the application to the superintendent and the support would need to be made now.
Now, like, when is the deadline to actually submit it?
So I'd have to look to see when the deadline is, but given the scope of the potential tentative start date, it would be sometime in the spring potentially, but I'll look and see. But we wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't make sense to start the program in the middle anyway. So anything that we would get potentially would be for the fall. But I'll look and see when the deadline for that is, because that's the time for the review and all of that.
Yeah, I'm just asking because it does sound like there's potentially a lot of legwork that we may have to do here as far as, submitting the letter of support, reaching out to elected officials. So I'm just wondering what kind of timeline we're working in to be able to get you those resources.
Okay, I can get that to you.
I also ask, I think it actually, if you were able to get some funding and you were able to get a quote, say, we don't start in February, but you go from like March of this academic year through, 2026, 2027 of next academic year. So that way they're at least getting to know your school, they're getting to know some of your students, they're like building those relationships. Because just the way that, like, depending on where this money comes from, the way that fiscal years work, like, if that money isn't spent down, then you kind of like lose it. And so if you go with a larger or longer Right. And also the resolution.
Yes.
And I also was just thinking, like, I know for our particular district, Vanessa Gibson has given in the last year or 2 years, 1.6 million to a lot of our initiatives. It's District 75. And so like she, the borough president, she has a
Yes.
discretionary budget as well. And if, we can make the case, or if
Okay.
you all can make the case, like, that's why I'm like, I know your superintendent is
Yes.
we are having meetings with them. They have FaceTime with a lot of these elected officials. And so if it is important to you all and it is important to your superintendent, then I think that is
Yes.
just another avenue to just, because
Yes.
they're everybody's short on cash, but they have the
Okay.
time and the availability to smooth with those folks to just kind of like, hey,
Okay.
it's 30,000 to you, to drop in the bucket.
And
Yes.
that's true.
I
mean, the
understand.
officials do have significant
Yeah.
funds to contribute to things like this, and they like to help out the local schools. So that's why I'm saying
Definitely.
it's certainly something that's worth pursuing and something that, we have good relationships with those elected officials. They come to every one of our monthly meetings and speak to
Okay.
us. So, I'm just kind of thinking, like, how can we be of help to you? Collaborating with elected officials is something that we would definitely be able to, that's one of
Okay.
our strengths.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely like that idea that was proposed about potentially starting later and then building that relationship, because as you know, we do have summer school in the summer, so it would be a way for the kids to get to know the school, for the program to get to know the students throughout and go into the new school and get the ball rolling and know those kids. So I love that idea. And the good thing is that in speaking with I Will Graduate, as long as I have been, they're open and flexible. So I believe that they would be willing, potentially, if the funding was there, to start
They
later and extend
They
it. So not,
they-
yeah,
They'll do it. They'll do it. For sure.
yeah,
So can I ask, I think what would be helpful for you is if we could get like maybe two different iterations of those quotes and like
okay,
a more detailed outline of like what it is that they're providing for the school, and not
okay,
just there's this base plan, it sounds like, and then there's like the college ready. That's a separate plan.
okay.
Or is it the same
So
plan?
two separate. So get a more detailed with this proposal regarding the success mentoring program for the
Okay, so
outreach and attendance.
since this is a pilot, either do the college
Yes,
one. Sounds like the focus is attendance, so I will just
okay,
go with the attendance focus. And if we find
okay,
in this year plus pilot that it's successful, then I think you can advocate for more funds because you have the data to say that this
gotcha,
program and this organization is working for us. But I think with that,
gotcha.
given that as a detailed format with a letter of support, I think we can like send it out to either elected officials and or just
Yeah,
people that
okay,
might be to support.
Hmm.
Like
okay,
having an understanding of like what it's gonna, all the things are gonna be able to provide. And even
yeah,
this could be like potentially a test case. We see that it goes really well.
yeah,
The officials or the
yeah,
superintendent sees that it goes really well with this one school, then it's like, we should probably, let's do it in the whole building. Maybe let's do it in like
yeah.
the high schools
I like
within.
that idea.
So it's like,
Yeah,
it could be a great test case to just boost,
yeah.
attendance across the district. And then it's only gonna make this.
I love that idea. And that's what we find in our school too. Not only are we individual schools, but what works in one school, we want it to work for everyone. So I can see this being a win-win for everybody. So I will
Right.
definitely get the pilot information more detailed for you. Get the college and career readiness so that you guys can see ahead to that. And then also to see what it would look like if the entire building was to participate in the future, then they could see it.
Okay. Yeah, I think we got some things to work with.
Yeah. I think this was definitely this is helpful, really
And what are
helpful.
your overall thoughts, community board members, so far? I know you're not familiar much with I Will Graduate. I'm hoping that after our conversation, you'll be able to get more information about them. But what
Oh,
are
yeah.
your overall thoughts based on our conversation and seeing like where the letters of support could benefit my school.
I mean, I like Stephanie was saying, attendance is an issue. I think right now across our district, we're at like 82%, and we're trying to
Yeah.
like get up to 86, or maybe it's 86, and we're trying to get closer to like 89. But
Okay.
seeing
Yeah.
if this is working in one particular school and they have the capacity to grow and go into other schools, I think it would be really cool. My skepticism always comes from I'm really frugal, and the way that I think and use my budget is always like,
Yeah.
how can I stretch my money? And I know that
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who thinks like that. And so just doing
Yeah.
our due diligence of like looking up the organization, like I would even, love to talk to other schools to see, what
Yeah.
and how, like just if they really are successful, how are they experiencing success in these other schools?
Yeah.
But it sounds promising, so that's good.
Oh,
I'm excited.
thank you for that feedback. And then also, I'm not sure if
I
you know,
also
but we have had consistency around the 89 to 92%. But this year specifically, we saw that massive dip,
Mhm.
and we're worried because it's happening not only with us, but with the entire building. So, like you said, it's something that could potentially benefit everyone, and especially because our attendance teacher has such a crucial role with all of our schools. So she can speak to that when she sits in those meetings. She's seeing that consistency across the board with the dips.
Right.
And she does a great job. It's just like you said, 5 schools,
Yeah.
it's hard to get to.
No, that's the point.
Stephanie, you want to add something?
yeah, I wanted to say the same way that like we could get like to have other schools and like their highlights. One of
Yes.
the highlights could be also having students speak on their
Okay.
experience on the program.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like that will bring it full circle into that.
Okay.
Okay, admin wants this for their school, but let's hear
Yes.
from the people that are receiving the services
Yes.
and how did they feel about it, like with the college advisor or
Yes.
attendance. If they were struggling with their attendance, how they were able to manage those things with their counselor in the program. So I think those would be good things. Another thing is if you have student government,
Yes, we
they
do.
are also so they are able to be part of certain elected officials, have youth councils
Yes.
like the Bronxborough President's Office,
Yes.
that
We
they
have,
could
I
be
believe,
part
2 students from our school who are on the youth council for the district. They were selected, so there's 2 from our school, and then I believe 2 from every school in the building that represent.
from where for
From
what
our
council?
school, they're on the youth council for the
For the district.
district. Yes.
Okay,
And that
but
meeting
this
happens, I
one,
believe, once a month.
okay, is it with the CC11 or no?
So I believe it's
Oh,
with the
that's with the
superintendent's
superintendent.
district. Yes, yes, with the superintendent.
Yeah,
So
because
they
the
get the feedback
superintendent has
directly
their
from the
own youth
student.
council. Yes,
Yes.
so they're able to advocate there, but you want them to be in the youth council with the borough president's office because again,
Okay.
the funding,
Yes.
because that's where they could talk about the program they would like in their school.
Okay.
And another thing they could also do is CEC. They have student seats.
Okay.
And in that council, they also have borough representatives, and they could help them with things to advocate that they want to advocate in their schools.
Okay.
So within that council, there's 2 borough representative appointees that they'll
Okay.
be there listening to the student and what they're advocating.
Okay.
So I just wanted to share those things that I feel it could help as well.
Definitely. I'm taking all of these notes, Stephanie, because I'm bringing all of this
Don't
back
worry,
to
I'll
my
put
future
my number in
administration.
the chat for you. I'll put my
Okay.
number in the Zoom chat.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I have it here. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. I have it. And I have your email as well.
No problem.
This is great stuff, everybody. Wonderful. I'm taking all of these notes.
Yeah, I think this was a really productive conversation, and again, thank you so much for coming to our meeting and talking with us. I think your school and your students are really lucky to have you, being such a
Oh, thank
tireless
you.
for them. So no, really, that's
Definitely agree.
yeah.
Thank you. And we appreciate you guys taking the time today and your support and feedback. Because anything that you guys can provide feedback wise to assist us, we would be eternally grateful.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we have a lot of things to kind of follow up on. I
Yes.
think, I'll probably reach out to the other committee members and kind of follow up with this conversation for, how we
Yes.
want to go forward, and then I'll stay in contact with you as well. And we'll
Okay.
just kind of work on some of the things that we discussed.
Mhm.
Okay.
So yeah, and I know there was a few other things that you had reached out to us about too. The
Yes.
school store,
Yes.
the tutoring. It
Yes.
sounds like we already have quite a few things to do now, so I'm wondering
Yes.
maybe we should focus on that for now, and then follow up on some of the other things. How do you feel about that?
I definitely agree. I think if we can focus on the most important thing at the moment, then that would help us to utilize our time in that. And then we can always look towards anything else in my original proposal later on. But I think if we get the focus on it, it will help us to better present it so that we can receive support if there's support to be received. I definitely like streamlining it and focusing on this at this moment. What do you guys suggest? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan, and I also just want to
Okay.
emphasize that, this is an ongoing relationship, so it's not our,
Yes.
help and relationship with you doesn't end with this one issue.
Right.
Yes.
It's anything you want to reach out to us about, we're always here, and that's what we're here for, to be a resource and to help you with these things. So,
Well, thank you very much. We're looking forward to working with you guys.
Likewise.
definitely, thank you so much, Ms. Morris.
Yes, thank you so much for taking time today. And I will follow up with you, Mr. Epperson, as soon as I can.
Yeah, I'm planning on, talking with the committee a little bit, over email this week, and hopefully we'll send you a follow-up email next week, just kind of
Okay.
outlining next steps, and, we can kind of touch base.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Stephanie, as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care. Have a great rest of your week.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Great, well, that was really nice, I thought.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. I have I'm just in terms of like moving forward, I think there's some different things we can definitely try.
Okay,
And I'm even wondering if we have her, like, once we have the quote and we have our letter, if it would be better, like, since all the elected officials are at the full board meeting, having her like give them the quote, give them like just hand it out or email it to folks and say, if every one of you is willing to contribute, say 500 to 1,000, a couple thousand, however much they're willing to give, and then they just pull that money together. Maybe even if it's not for the year and a half, maybe it could be a pilot for, I don't know, spring to summer or something.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I mean, I was planning to reach out to their offices individually, but the idea of sort of like petitioning them at the meeting
Yeah.
too.
It's been on the spot.
Yeah, like, you wanna see the kids in your district go to school. You got money to make sure the kids in your district go to school.
1,000. You can give 200. You can give 500, and just and I think it's like I think the benefit to that is like let's really we know that attendance is an issue across the city. This organization has had proven success, dramatic success in schools. Let's use this as a test case for District 11 and the Bronx. And if it's successful, we can like maybe this could be the like story that we tell the rest of the city as like a model that they can follow after. What did someone say today? Rima said, you know, we start practices in schools and then we use those to build promising practices that we bring to, and like escalate throughout all schools in the district. And I'm like, okay, Rima, we can do that. But yeah, we gotta start small. And so I think that it could make a lot of people look, not that we want the school to do great, but people like looking good too. And
Yeah, well, if it's successful, it helps the kids, and if the benefit of that is it also helps the people who pay for the program, then
Right.
everybody wins.
it's in the Bronx, you know, I would love to have these feel good stories. Just to change the, I don't know, attitude and sort of like stereotypes that kind of come out of the Bronx too. Especially within education, I feel like, yeah. I would just like that to be a story that we can say or that we can tell.
Yeah, like, hey, this great program would start in the Bronx,
Yeah.
like hip hop,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you think, Stephanie? Good? Okay, well, let's see, I mean, the next item on the agenda is the gallery. Do we have anyone?
I don't think we have anybody.
We don't have anyone else here, right? No. So, no one from the gallery. No motions, right? Even if we do, we don't have quorum.
Yeah.
Old business from anyone, new business? No?
Nope.
All right, then, I move to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
Anyone opposed? No? Okay, 8:16 PM. This meeting of the Education Committee is over. Thank you. Stephanie, great to see you and talk to you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll be there in person next month.
Okay. And yeah, I'll just add your email now to all our like group committee emails, so that way you're kind of I just didn't wasn't able to get your email, so I haven't been including you in the committee emails
No
yet.
worries.
And I just texted you too. Cause I didn't, I don't think any of us had your contact information.
Okay, I'm gonna save that too.
No problem. Thank you again. And I hope you get home safe.
Yeah, thanks.
See you soon.
Yes, see you soon.
Take care, Stephanie.
You too.
Wait, is this Stephanie? Oh, that was another number.
Yes.